welcome to We Have Spoken, the official podcast of Star Wars, the Custom 112 Galaxy Facebook group, the largest 112 scale Star Wars customizing group in the world. As always, my name is Corey Frya, and it's my pleasure to captain this ship. Today I'm joined by the three best Mando bros a scruffy-looking nerf herder like myself could ever ask for. First up, he's the newest member of the Boba Fett fan club. Make room on the bandwagon, folks. It's Matty D.
Hello there, everyone.
Also joining us today, he's the only little green friend that I would never, ever hand over to Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. It's Ryan Crary.
How's it going?
And last but not least, emerging from the darkness with his lightsaber lit for his own personal badass hallway scene, it's my man, L.E. Spry.
Greetings and salutations.
All right, now, unless you've been living under a rock, then you should be well aware by now that the finale of Mandalorian Season 2 aired this past Friday. So allow me to give my one and only spoiler warning. If you have not seen the final episode of The Mandalorian Season 2, turn back or you will be very disappointed. Okay? 1, 2. All right. I hope you're gone because we've got so much Star Wars goodness to discuss. I mean, week in and week out, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have given us some of the best live-action Star Wars content to date. I think we all agree on that. But after this week's episode, there's something different. There's like a different feeling in the air. There's a different aura around Star Wars fandom. And I'm not talking about this feeling of Christmas. I'm talking about unification. Now, is it just me, or does it feel like Star Wars fandom is finally starting to heal from the splinters caused by the sequel trilogy? Matty, what do you think?
I genuinely think that I think you're right. I just think this was a step in the right direction to really unify the fan base around an amazing series and an amazing finale, some of the best Star Wars I've seen, but I definitely can see how people can get around this all together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely going in the direction that's going to heal us all from the abuse we took with the sequel trilogy, as you would say. But yeah, it was a great episode. Every week they keep outclassing themselves, so what more can you say?
I couldn't agree more. My latest custom is just a little shrine to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Mine's an enormous shrine. I think I'm just going to rebuild my house into a temple.
There you go.
Erecting a massive statue to both of them and start praising them every day. It's the only way we can do this. Guys, man, I don't even know where to begin. We saw so much in this episode. It was packed with everything we've ever... I don't know about you. I'm speaking for myself, but I feel like for 26 years, I needed to see something. And that was Luke Skywalker use all of his Jedi, after all of his training, after all of his power, we finally saw him conquer the dark side and bring a balance to the Force. We needed to see Luke post Return of the Jedi. We've read it in books. We've seen it in comics. But in this episode, we finally saw it. It was 26 years in the waiting for me, similar to what I said in an earlier episode about Boba Fett. But this one, man, I don't even know. I'm just going to make sounds. I can't even emote words that express how excited I was for this. Matty, your overall thoughts on this and just mind-blowing, incredible hallway scene with Luke Skywalker.
This was a joyous, momentous occasion for any fan of Star Wars. This was total redemption for the character from how he was treated in the sequels, and it totally gave us what we've been waiting for, like you said, Corey, for 20-odd years, 30-odd years, whatever it is, to see him in action. He had his Rogue One moment, if you will, and it was glorious. I loved every minute of it. I had my hands like an eagle's talons, like the whole time. I was so tense and excited. It was just magnificent. I loved every single stinking minute of it.
Yeah, it was awesome. We've all waited so long to see Luke do what Luke does. The books and comics have all told us what he can do, but we never got it on screen. You know, I wanted that Luke from, like, the Star Wars Jedi Knight, the Academy game. I wanted to see him come out where he's in his prime, and we finally got it.
You got that right, Ryan. And it took Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to give it to us. Like you guys have said, I was certainly let down by the sequels, and being able to see him, enter the way he did, and when that green lightsaber lit,
hell yes.
Then you finally see the hilt. Man, I was like, oh my God, I was like about to tear up. It was so awesome.
Let me give you a play-by-play of what went down for me. I'm not a big fan of reaction videos on YouTube and stuff because I feel like they're really forced. But this is one time that I really wish there was a camera on me when I was watching anything, because as soon as they said there was that lone X-Wing, I looked over to my wife and I was like, no. And I stood up from my seat. And then he says, you see him in the hallway there. You see a cloaked figure. And I'm like, that's Luke Skywalker. And then you see another scene. You see the lightsaber light up. That's Luke Skywalker. You see the gloved hand. That's fucking Luke Skywalker. And then he just goes to town and he finally removes the hood. Oh my God. And for it to actually be, I guess it was actually Mark Hamill, but the de-aged and did all that stuff. For it to actually be Luke and look like Mark Hamill, that was one of the biggest payoffs that they ever could have provided Star Wars fandom in my entire life. I stood there in awe, literally, and up from the edge of my seat with a blanket covering my mouth, just like, oh my God, I couldn't process what was going on. It was so crazy. Yeah, I did. And of course, in our group, we've already seen droves of Luke customs come flooding out the gates since Sunday morning.
Yep.
And it's really cool to see all the love for Luke. Not that he hasn't had his fair share, but man, it's great to see everybody loving on Luke Skywalker again. Something else we saw in this episode was we saw some Darksaber lore that was somewhat questionable. And that occurred when Din squared off with Moff Gideon. It was Beskar's spear versus the Darksaber. And, before this went down, Bo-Katan was very adamant that she needed to be the one to defeat Moff Gideon. And then we later found out that there was a reason for that, because if you defeat the person with the Darksaber and you win it, then you are you're the owner of the Darksaber. It's yours. It's your rightful claim, and you're now the rightful heir, ruler of Mandalore. So that went down. Bo-Katan's pretty upset. But what I want to talk about there is, in Rebels, Sabine handed the Darksaber to Bo-Katan. So what do you guys think of this contradiction, and how do you think they're going to work their way around it?
I thought the same thing, Corey. I remembered specifically when I remember that scene from Rebels where you literally see Sabine handing Bo-Katan the Darksaber. I think this one will be interesting. I think it's going to play out probably in the same vein, maybe over next season, depending on where the show heads or where I think it's going to head. But I think it'll play out similar to how we've seen what a Mandalorian is, right? How that sort of evolved. We've seen that within Din Djarin and some of the other characters that have entered the fray. I'm not sure exactly where it goes, but I was curious to see and know where this is going to head myself.
I'm not sure where they're going to go with it because, like you both said already, Sabine just hands it over in Rebels. And for it to be an issue now, I don't know if it was based on the fact that, the enemy was right there. So, Moff Gideon being there, they've heard the stories of how the Darksaber rules Mandalore and everything. I don't know if it's something like that because there's witnesses, but who knows? I'm sure it'll play out just fine. They've done great work so far anyway.
Do you think it's because she was a Mandalorian from Mandalore? I'm talking about Sabine Wren. Maybe that's what made it more acceptable, where Din Djarin isn't technically a Mandalorian, per se, in that vein?
Yeah, maybe. I haven't thought about it, but that's a good thing to bring up.
They definitely don't like Boba as a Mandalorian, that's for sure.
That's true. I had not thought about the point you just raised, Matty, but I too was just confused by that. That she couldn't take it from him when she took it from Sabine.
I mean, maybe there's parts of that story that we don't know. That's she took it from Sabine, and then she lost it somehow, right? So somewhere after taking it between Rebels and now, she was the ruler of Mandalore and lost it. So maybe I'm just spitballing here. She took the Darksaber and it was a failure, so she didn't want to take it again. She wanted to earn it this time to really rally everybody behind her. Just throwing it out there. I have no idea about what anything is going on. It's just my speculation there. But yeah, it was a little weird. But it was cool how they actually went into a little bit depth into explained the Darksaber for those of us who have not seen Rebels. You finally got you need your significant other to be like, hey, yeah, so this happened, and Darth Maul had it, and this happened. They gave us a nice little brief overview, and everybody knows what the Darksaber is now. So that's pretty cool. Something I want to discuss in this episode is I hope you stuck around for the after credit scene. I originally did not, and it wasn't until I think it was L.E. told me to check it out. And that is the tease for a Boba Fett series or a Boba Fett something coming to Disney Plus next December 2021. It's called The Book of Boba Fett. We saw Boba enter Jabba's palace, blast down Thick Boy Bib Fortuna, and take over the throne. Guys, if you had to speculate what was going to happen with the future of Boba Fett, what would you guess?
I would think, based on what I've seen, that he's going to have his own show. I mean, it seems logical that he spins off and does his own thing because now he's taken a character from The Mandalorian. So for future, they can cross-pollinate between shows. I got the sense that maybe he took over like a crime syndicate of some sort. So I don't know if that puts him at odds with other characters or it just goes a whole new direction. But I'm excited after watching him beat some ass with Gaffy Stick. I was like, yeah, man, I'm in. Do whatever you need to do, bro.
I think we're going to get just a regular Boba Fett show. I've seen speculation that they're going to try to merge the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian, kind of take away from Mandalorian Season 3, focused on Din Djarin and everything else going on with him, and make it a Boba Fett season. I don't think that's going to happen, but I've seen other people speculate it. I think he's going to end up doing the crime syndicate, or maybe he's going to start a legitimate bounty hunter guild on Tatooine. We'll see. I don't know.
My speculation is that we're just going to get Boba Fett running Tatooine gangster style. I think he'll start another guild as part of that. But I think it's going to be well, let's remember he owes his allegiance to no one. He said that. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to be out to get his now that he's in a position to do so. And we're just going to have, a whole nother load of awesome Star Wars content.
And it makes you wonder, it's like the last time he interacted with real Mandalorians, he was helping Din because he said he would do whatever he could. He was basically a life debt. He owed him. But the last time he interacted with Bo-Katan, and I forget her name, but Sasha Banks is what I'm always going to call her, they didn't really like him. They shut him down. You're not a Mandalorian. So you almost wonder, did that drive him back to be like, all right, you bastards don't, I don't belong with you. You don't think I belong? Then I'm going back to doing what I did a long time ago. So maybe they drove him to do that. Maybe they put some evil back in Boba, which I know a lot of people were complaining. They're like, Boba Fett's supposed to be a bad guy. But the whole time, he was never supposed to be a bad guy. Like he says in the show, his allegiance is to no one. It's whoever pays him the most money. It has always been that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
While we're talking,
bounty hunters are neutral.
Yep.
How cool was that scene in the setup where Fennec Shand came into Jabba's palace first and took everybody out? And then you see Boba's shadow on the wall.
Oh yeah, that shadow was so cool.
Man, I just thought it was so well done.
Though my reaction was, "Oh my God, Bib Fortuna's back! This is so cool!" And then to lose him 2 seconds later, I was like, "Oh."
He's dead.
But I was like, "What a fitting
Man, he
ending
had
for
been
him."
living a life of luxury with that all that weight he had gained. He turned into a big boy.
Yeah, we had some thin-looking Gamorreans, and then I
Yeah.
guess he was eating all the food. So that fat bastard got what he deserved. Oh, let me.
That throne was really
Angle
cool.
was sitting on.
Yeah, isn't somebody working on that already?
Yeah, Phil Freeman at Photonic Figures is almost done with that.
That's crazy.
You'll probably be seeing something from him about the exact time this podcast comes out.
Ooh, we look forward to seeing that. I think I saw an image of it like in an Instagram story the other day, the Rancor head. I thought those were like the normal can't even talk. The normal gargoyles that are on the Jabba throne, but they're Rancor heads, which was kind of cool. I didn't realize that.
Yep.
So we talked about speculating where we're going with Boba Fett. What do you guys think Grogu here? I mean, he handed him off to Luke. There was one of the most emotional Star Wars scenes in the entire world. In fact, let's just talk about that scene before we talk about the future of Grogu. Man, I don't know about you guys, but when he had to hand little baby Yoda over to Luke, I lost it. I had tears crawling down my face. I was done. It was such an emotional moment. And then he ups the ante by taking off his helmet, doesn't give a shit anymore. He reveals his face to everybody, and he looks at his son, his adopted son, one final time with his own eyes. It was like mirroring Vader and Luke in Return of the Jedi, and you could just see the emotion between a puppet and a phenomenal actor, Pedro Pascal. Even right now, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. It's such an impactful scene. What did you guys think of how this all went down? And I guess I'll just throw it out there, too. Where do you think we're going to go with Grogu?
I lost it, or I started to lose it, actually, when I saw the cape figure in the hallway before the lightsaber ignition, because at that point I realized it was Luke. And it was heartbreaking, man. God, I mean, I love Grogu so much. It was absolutely heartbreaking to see the handoff, and everything you just described just brought me to absolute tears and my knees, and you just got all the feels, but for all the right reasons, right? And because we finally have this excellent story that's been told over, 2 seasons, and it comes to us perfectly wrapped with a bow. And it was the perfect ending to the show, and I'm heartbroken. Where do I think it goes? Oh, gosh, I think they could potentially spin off even a young Luke show. Isn't there an actor? I don't know the guy's name, but he's in the Marvel Legends universe. But they say that I've seen images, he looks something like Luke Skywalker when he's young. Why can't they try to cast that dude and have him, we get to see Luke at the Jedi Temple, so we get to see what Luke was really about before, the sequel treatment he got.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal did amazing in that scene. I think the symbolism of Grogu being the first one to ever touch his face since he was a child, I think that's pretty cool. They clearly made a connection, but that's pretty obvious. Where I think it goes from here, I think kind of like what Matty said, is there's the possibility of maybe a young Luke show, and the actor you're thinking of, Matty, is Sebastian Stan.
Winter Soldier.
Thank you.
That's it.
Winter Soldier, yes, that's the one.
But whether or not that happens, I think we'll see at least flashbacks to young Luke in his Jedi Temple after we make it. I'm sure we're going to see more of it in the future, regardless of whether it's a show or just flashbacks. But I don't think we're going to see Grogu for a hot minute after this.
Can I just say real quick? I would literally pay a monthly fee to just watch Grogu on a webcam, so they can do whatever they want with him. I'm just down, cool, sign me up. But yeah, I'm not sure where it goes. Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
That's cool, Matty. yeah, like Ryan said, good grief, what a powerful moment, in Star Wars this scene was. Fact that he lifted his helmet so Grogu could see his face, and like he said, touching his face, man, it's like a super brings a lot of feelings, like father son type moments, and Pedro Pascal really crushed it with the acting skills. I'm kind of wondering the same thing. We may not see Grogu for a while, but there is for sure super potential in having a show that could show some more of his development. Luke at the temple, that would be nice. Might even see a young Kylo Ren. Man, where they're gonna go, I have no clue, but I'm sure it'll be amazing because they're crushing it.
Yeah, man, I could go on and on about that scene. I don't have any kids myself, but if you know anything about me, I love dogs more than I like people. That's not an exaggeration. I legitimately mean that when I say that. I have 2 dogs, and they're my entire world. And that scene just felt like, man, just having. I don't know if anybody's ever had to gone through this, but when you've ever unfortunately had to put down an animal, it's very sad, and that evoked tons of emotions in that regard for me, and it was just they captured everything so perfectly, and I don't want to say I thank them enough, but I can't. It's such a perfect moment that it really needs to be highlighted and appreciated. That they hit every single note and just absolutely nailed it. I hate to bring the podcast to that dark of a note, but I'm just throwing it out there. That's what it reminded me of, and that's why it hit such a strong note with me. But enough of that. Let's talk about where Grogu can go from here. In my opinion, I would absolutely love to see a Luke Skywalker show. Oh my God, that would be one thing that I would want. If you asked me, like, hey, what do you want to see from Star Wars next? That would probably top my list. That's how big of a Luke Skywalker fanboy I am. I think whether or not we get that, and it's going to be our reaction to what people think of his face in the CGI, because I don't know if you can do that for an entire series. You'd have to bring in someone like Sebastian Stan, but I do appreciate the fact that they're continuing to bring back Mark Hamill. Not that he's like on the edge of death or anything like that, but he's getting older, so the more opportunity they have to use Mark Hamill, the better for me. He is the absolute #1 Star Wars ambassador and always will be. So more Mark Hamill, awesome. I would love to see that. Grogu going away for a while, I think it's a bold choice by Disney if they do it, because he is a brand new cash cow. He's brought in so many new fans to Star Wars and to Mandalorian that just start watching it just because they love Baby Yoda. So to remove him, it'd be risky. It would be a risky choice, but I think if anybody can convince Disney to do that, it would be Jon Favreau. I mean, he convinced them to keep him a secret for that long and hold off on all that money, so why the heck not? Why wouldn't you listen to him again? We know if he does go away, he's going to pop back up. It's only a matter of time. He's an established Star Wars character now. He's not going away. So don't worry. You're going to get Grogu again at some point. I promise you. He's coming back. So let's shift our focus from actual analyzation of the episode and our love and fandom for everything that Favreau and Filoni have brought us, and let's talk about some customization things that we saw in this episode. Is there anything you guys want to highlight that you stuck out to you custom-wise, whether it's a figure or a diorama or anything that you think can be built in 1/12 scale? Matty, anything that you saw?
A couple simple things. I'm not going to lie. I really had a hard time focusing on building in this episode because it was such an emotional ride, with everything you had just said before, by the way. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you 100%, Corey, about what you said about losing a pet, and it certainly resonated with me quite a bit. That said, I thought that I loved seeing Luke in actually all black, and I loved that his hooded cape was actually black. At least that's how it appeared to me on the screen.
Yep.
So I thought that was pretty badass. So I'd love to see more of those. It looks like a lot of people in the forum are really stepping up and tackling soft goods on their own, and I love what I'm seeing so far. I've seen some really cool, detailed builds. So more of that would be great. And then I'm sure, I think someone already said it, but I love the Bib Fortuna. I'd love to see Fat Boy version of him.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure that throne is forthcoming, I think someone said. So those are the things that stood out easily to me. Dark Troopers, of course, 3D printed. Yeah, but that's about it.
Man, Matty, you always take everything I have.
It's okay. You can reiterate his point.
My biggest thing was you get a lot of new reference images for those Dark Troopers. That throne, I want to see somebody make that throne. It would be great for a diorama. As far as diorama pieces, I think there's tons of panels in that control room that would make for a great Imperial diorama. That's really all I had, other than Thick Boy Bib.
Yeah, you guys have nailed it. We really need someone to model a Dark Trooper. I'm surprised we haven't already seen a head, but we need that pretty badly. It's probably going to involve a full figure sculpt. I don't know of any existing body that could come close to matching that look, even in Marvel or anything. We're going to need, I'm sure someone's going to make a hallway diorama, where Luke's crushing all these droids, very similar to a Rogue One diorama where Vader's doing the exact same thing to Rebels.
How cool would it be to have them on like dueling shelves too, or like side
by side, Vader crushing Rebels and Luke crushing Dark Troopers.
Yeah, if we can get some Dark Troopers in 1/12 scale, we can make this happen. I mean, whether or not you build your own, I guess not the Tantive 4, but Rebel Blockade Runner hallway for Vader, or you get the one from, what is it, Galaxy Trading Post? Is that what they are? GTP?
GTP toys?
Yeah, GTP toys. There we go. GTP toys, or you build your own, and then you try to build your own thing. That'd be a really cool display. So let's get some Dark Troopers badly. Wouldn't shock me if we see Hasbro re-release a Jedi Luke like they had at Walmart, the exclusive one that came out. Personally, I would love if they fixed his head, but if they don't, or even if they don't re-release him, Scoundrel Stock, Rob has designed a brand new Luke head with the new haircut from Mando. It's already out, so check that out. Scoundrel Stock, it looks pretty sweet. What I liked, and I'm a nerd for this stuff, so when I was watching the episode, I saw all these crates and stuff inside the ship, and I was like, oh, look at that crate. I haven't seen that design before. That's cool. I don't know why, but that excited me, and I would love to see some of those crates in the cruiser designed. So hopefully we can get something like that, because for some reason I'm obsessed with storage containers in 1/12 scale. It's just my obsession. It's weird. It's my cross to bear, I guess. Anything else you guys want to bring up before we bring our show to a close?
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Nothing from L.E. What do you got? Anybody else?
No, sir.
All right. So, I don't want to dismiss Ryan. Ryan, anything?
No.
All right.
Forget it. No.
Ryan is listening. Ryan is listening.
That matters. All right.
I did the thing.
Ryan. All right. So, a quick note is the We Have Spoken podcast. We're going to take a brief hiatus through the holidays. But like Boba Fett, we'll be back blasting into the Sarlacc pit, and we're going to return next year with more content. We might go back and talk about the first season of Mandalorian. We're going to have way more customization talk, whether a beginner, intermediate, an expert, whatever you are, we're going to have you covered. We'll talk about some stuff like that. Might even have some guests on the show. Might even have some guys in the group you're familiar guest on the show to talk about things they specialize in, so stick around for that in 2021. And on a personal note, we just want to thank everybody who has listened to these first 8 episodes of ours. We sincerely appreciate everything you guys have listened and to us ramble on about Star Wars and customizing action figures and dioramas. It's been really cool. So thanks for allowing us to do that. So for all of us at Star Wars, a custom 112 Galaxy Facebook group, have an amazing Christmas. We'll see you next year. May the Force be with you.